Well, here we are at Monza for the GT4 European Series, powered by the RAFA Racing Club. It's Monza, it's Italy, it's early autumnal sunshine, and we've got a packed grid of cars coming out to play. 50 cars here at the Monza circuit, and they're not using the fabulous banking of old. Really exciting if they were, but that is consigned to history. But I can tell you it was super close in qualifying, with Team Speed Car with their Audi coming out on top. Benjamin Lariche setting some remarkable lap times, but a great mix of cars. McLaren's very much towards the front behind that Audi, Aston Martins, Ford Mustangs, Porsches, Mercedes, and a second Audi as well in that mix. Best of Toyota is just outside the top 10, but that's in the hands of Eric Celli. It's been a warm day. It was grey to start with. The sun came out. The track temperature has continued to rise. It's sitting at just under 40 degrees track temperature. Air temperature quite a comfortable 23.5 degrees, but a few of the cars being hurled around. Ricardo van der Ende there swinging the BMW from L'Espace Bienvenue around, because heat in the tyres is what the drivers are going to require. This circuit resurfaced since 2023, and all the crews have been getting used to how much grip they have. Sometimes having a lot more grip doesn't help you if your car wants to slide around a bit. So Benjamin Lariche took pole position. He was super quick. His first and second fastest laps, very impressive. And in turn, Robert Consani, his teammate, was top of his part of the session as well. But it's their Audi at the front, but behind he's got John Lancaster, Josh Ratican in their McLarens, looking very quick indeed. And it's a Pro-Am entry for John Lancaster that is sitting there in second on the grid. The 812 McLaren entered by the RAFA Racing team, with the RAFA of RAFA on board for the second half of the race. That's Rafael Martinez. So he will be enjoying the fact his car is starting at the front. And wonderful shot down, looking down from a drone shot at the long start-finish straight. This track has been opened for 102 years, and it's still providing the thrills right now. Packed grid of cars. But let's go down to the grid. Robert Consani, his car will be starting on pole position, and he's standing alongside Gemma.
Robert, de meilleure position pour le départ ici. Benji, il est dans la voiture. Comment il va?
Comme l'année dernière, on va dire. L'année dernière, on a fait pole, on gagne la première course. Donc là, il faut tâcher de faire au moins pareil. Il fait beau, tout va bien. Donc il faut croiser les doigts pour être à l'arrivée dans la même position.
J'adore. Calm, cool, tranquille. A little translation for everybody. We just said to Robert that in the best position, of course, and how's Benji feeling? And he said, of course, it was just like last year, so they're hoping to they've got the pole, now get the race result. They've just got to stay cool and calm and get the result in.
Easy peasy. Thank you very much, Gemma. With such a packed field of cars, but it's a long run from the grid down to that first corner. Here's the championship, and it could almost be wrapped up by Elite Motorsport McLaren duo Tom Le Bon and Joshua Ratican, and their car is sitting third on the grid, so in a good position. But Benjamin Lacen on pole position, and he's sitting there on 79 points. So he could certainly augment that second place. It's very close in behind, because they share second place with Ricardo van der Ende, and it's Benjamin Lariche and, of course, Robert Consani, and all together equal in second place in the championship. So that is very tight indeed. And in fact, it was the 2 points gained by Benjamin Lariche and Robert Consani that moved them equal with the L'Espace Bienvenue BMW of Benjamin Lacen and Ricardo van der Ende. They're both now starting the race on 79 points, but that's a big margin of 56 points up to the leading McLaren crew of Tom Le Bon and Josh Ratican. But let's go down for another interview, because let's hear from Thomas Leben. He's down on the grid. I think that's how we say his name.
It feels like it's been a weekend of talking about championships and tying things up. And Tom, for you guys now, theoretically, you could tie the championship up today in this race.
Yeah, on paper we can. We're not expecting to. Obviously, you don't want to go in hoping for that, because you never know what can happen, especially around here. We're hoping just for another consistent result. A top 5 would be fantastic. We're starting third, so if we can finish in the top 5, that'd be great.
It's incredible watching people, every championship that we've seen today racing around here in Monza. It's a very fast track. It also feels quite small when you see so many cars battling through to get through those chicanes. What are you going to find most challenging?
For us, the straight line speed is the biggest issue. It's just the tendency of the car. we're kind of surprised we qualified so high up. Obviously, it's a Templar speed, so you think straight line speed would be the main thing, but we're happy where we are.
Well, I wish you the best of luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, Tom Leban's had a fantastic season. He talked about speed, but also consistency. And the reason they're out on top is they've almost never been off the podium. And if so, only down as low as 5th place. Right, leading the AM class, it's Schumacher CLRT, Comme Ledegard's team. And it's Laurent Ergon and Pascal Houteau. And they are sitting on another tidy points margin over Florent Grisot and Kevin Jimenez in the GPA racing entry. That's car number 72. And so a great mix of manufacturers. It's Aston Martin second, but it's Alpine at the top of the pile in that class. Andy Cantu's been having a good season in his NM Racing team, Mercedes. He lies in 3rd place, and the rest are all just fighting for the bit part positions. So in the AM class, it's all to play for, but the top crew certainly some way clear of their pack. Right, a bit of shade being cast by the giant Monza grandstand over the start finishing straight for at least half the field, the side on that side. Ford Mustangs in the mix. Number 61, Eric Evans, had a very good run through qualifying, so he's starting at the sort of end of the grid that he would rather like in that wonderful rumbling American racer, and he's sharing with Marco Signoretti. But just remember, at the very front, McLarens have a fair few cars up there, but it's that Audi, the yellow, red and blue car, that is sitting on pole position. 2 points in the bag for both of its drivers topping their qualifying sessions, but both of the chasing crews in the overall class know that Tom Leban, who's going to be going second, and Josh Rattigan, who'll be starting his Elite Motorsport McLaren, have got the title almost in the bag. But you could hear the caution in that interview with Tom earlier on, and their results are 2 wins, a second, 2 thirds, 2 fourths and a 5th. That is consistent and astonishingly good in a field with as many cars, 50 starters here at Monza. Was due to be 51, we had a faller. Withdrawal, but now another car that normally goes well. Luke Ibanez and American racer Alexandra Papadopoulos. That's another car starting in the first handful of rows of this grid. Beautiful early autumnal weather. Started grey, it's turned out nice, as they'd say. And there it is, 25 rows of cars lined up. The populace will clear the grid, but we're not losing Gemma because she's down on the grid, NM Racing, and she has had an interview coming up with Alexandra Papadopoulos.
Alex, it's quite nice to be stood in the shade, actually. The temperatures have really come up in this afternoon.
Yeah, it's changed quite a bit since quali. I thought we were going to have a cooler day, but it definitely heated up quite a lot. So it's going to be like a sauna in the car. Hopefully it doesn't change the balance of the vehicle too much. But we have our setup. We're confident in the car, and I think hopefully we can have a strong pace for the entire stint.
Well, we've just been talking to one of your competitors here, Tom Leban, about straight line speed. How are you guys faring there?
We're doing okay. Cannot complain. We're not the worst, not the best, but I think the key here is just to survive turn 1, lap 1, and then from that point on, it'll be a battle. So we'll see.
Well, good luck. Enjoy the race. Thanks,
you.
Alex.
With so many cars on the grid and so many opportunities for people to get things wrong into the 3 chicanes, you have got to hang on to your positions. Wonderful thing this year, so many different crews have won races outright. The most wins actually has been our championship leaders, those 2 wins, but no other driver combination has taken more than 1. And the success came at the Spa-Francorchamps meeting, supporting the Spa 24 Hours for Leban and Rattigan, and Tom and Josh sitting pretty, and Josh will be starting the race. Number 78 McLaren from 3rd on the grid, just going out of our shot. And again, this wonderful spread of manufacturers through the GT4 field. I remember when the series, the category was launched, the numbers were slim, the number of manufacturers involved could only grow from there, and they've really picked their way up across the years. Car number 82, looking at there now, that's Rafael Villagomez who'll be starting that. 50 cars on the grid, 25 rows, very simple maths really, but would have been a record. They'd had 50 here in 2023. We were to have 51, but we'll settle for 50, and in this autumn sunshine, it looks great. Look down there. It's Audi on pole, 2nd place McLaren, 3rd place McLaren, 5th place McLaren. Real mix. The Aston Martin starting 4th with Stanislav Safronov, who was going well, and also up and down the grid, so many other manufacturers. Porsche's such a long challenger, Ivan Ecelic, but he's got about 5 rows of cars ahead of him. He's starting just around, I think, 11th position down there, might be 10th. But yeah, some in the shade, some in the bright sunlight. But the good news now is the 25 rows of cars are being cleared as people file through the gap in the pit wall. They'll go back and stand in front of their pit garage or within their pit garage. And we will see how this start is going to fix. And what we don't want in this race is drivers dipping a wheel over the chicane curbing, because we've had a lot of gravel being thrown up onto the circuit, and quite often you can get caught out by someone else's incident. But keep your nose clean, keep a little margin if possible, but in the heat of battle we understand how hard it is. But it's going to be fantastic. And just to run down, Tom Leben and Josh Ratican leading the Drivers' Championship by a good margin. In the Pro-Am class, it's one of the drivers the driver who's starting fourth, Stanislav Safronov, and his teammate Alexander Weintraub. They lead that class for the Mirage Racing Aston Martin, but only by 1 point. And then in the AM class, it's Laurent Hergon, Pascal Houteau in the Schumacher CLRT Alpine lead that by an enormous margin. 68-point advantage they have, so they have pretty much got it in a bag. Need a 6th place or 5th place or higher. Surely can get that done today. So let's take a look at the grid. Benjamin Lariche starts on pole position, the speed car Audi, alongside John Lancaster, the RAFA Racing Team McLaren. Then it's elite championship leader Josh Ratican in his McLaren, and Stanislav Safronov in 4th and 5th. Alex Denning from 5th, the Irish driver, and 2nd elite motorsport McLaren. Then Emil Haidar was really going very well indeed for Wimmerwerk, alongside Luc Ibanez, NM Racing Team. Andre Paviot, Team Speed Car, good run for him in the AM class. And then look down the names. Eric Chelly, already a race winner early this year, is going to see if he can make progress. The Toyota doesn't seem to be right on the money here this weekend, and a host of drivers have had good results through the course of the season. And looking there, Academy Motorsport, Will Moore, he'll be starting down in 18th. Leo Pickler, Andy Cantu, the 2nd of the NM Racing Team. Mercedes, let's see what he can do. Pierre Petit, he's been going well in class through the course of the year. And so we go, Ruben Del Start, Lonnie Martins, Victor Bouvin, Ricardo van der Ende, way down in 28th position, but equal 2nd in the championship. So look for a charge up the order for him, and Geddick as well, expect progress. It was a little bit stop-start in qualifying, which did lead to a few of the top runners ending up further down than you'd like, but certainly that'll make for extra excitement in this race. Roberto Ferrer, he actually dropped his Aston Martin in qualifying, and that did a little bit of damage, but that's been fixed. It's out on the grid. Lotus represented Mahiki Racing, Dexter Patterson, he was starting down towards the tail of the field. 25 rows in all. Here are the last three. Gregory Gilva, expect to see him make progress in the Shell Technology course. BMW, and then on the final row, including the last car on the grid, father and son Piotr and Anthony Chodson, the Polish racers, are back to play all over again a few years away. So GT4, it brings people back out, and 50 cars in the autumn sunshine here at Monza. An hour of racing ahead of us. How is it going to pan out? Let us find out. Certainly the McLarens, even though we heard they don't seem to have the greatest straight line speed at this temple of speed, but they're very, very good through the chicanes, beautifully balanced, and let's see if that is going to work in their favour. But I feel there's going to be a fair bit of incident in this race. Let's hope it's clean. It's going to be really enthralling racing. So let's see how it pans out in the hour ahead. Let's just run you down the first few positions. Speed car Audi at the front. That's Benjamin Lariche, really impressive in qualifying. A late lap from John Lancaster moved the 812 McLaren for the RAFA Racing Team up ahead of the Elite Motorsport McLarens. Josh Ratican, not quite a champion yet, but he starts third. Good points advantage for him outright. Stanislav Safronov, right, going so well in the Pro-Am class. It will be fourth, and then the 2nd of the Elite Motorsport McLarens will be starting fifth, the Alex Denning driven car, and he will be handing that over to Tom Empson. Right, 2 by 2 is the order for the crews as they go down the run from the Ascari chicane all the way down to the corner they're approaching now, which is the Parabolica. We want the 25 rows of cars all 2 by 2 in line astern order. This is the view from the 3rd place starting McLaren, Josh Ratican. Can the championship be landed here and now? Keep it neat, keep it tidy. They've had never finished lower than 5th. They've recorded results in all 8 races so far, and consistency is every bit as important as speed, and they've got both of those ingredients. So last moment of calm, the lights are out on the safety car. That will pull out of the way. Who's going to make the better start? Will it be Benjamin Lariche? He'll be on the right-hand side of the track. That's the side with the pit garages. The other side, in the shade of the grandstand, is where the McLaren with John Lancaster, a driver who's achieved in sports cars, he's achieved in single-seaters, many, many years of experience. He's getting the nose of his car in front, but it must be no further. It must be level at best with Lariche. They're now levelling up. They come round, the Lamborghini peels away. They're going to be looking to the lights on the starting gantry. 1 hour of racing lies ahead of us. Who is it going to be? Is the championship going to be settled this afternoon? We've still got the final round in Jeddah at the end of November, lots of time, but red is still red, still waiting. It looks though Josh Rattican is maybe even going to be passed by the sister car of Alex Denning. But it's a brilliant start by Benjamin Lariche from the front. John Lancaster holding down second place, trying to see who else is. Oh, Safronov is trying to come up the middle in the Aston Martin, but which of the McLarens from Elite went into third position? Was it Josh Rattican, the championship leader? I have half a feeling it was Alex Denning, because certainly, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars, 6 cars, 7 cars, anyone else going straight on up through the chicane? Well, the stewards will be looking at that, so someone went off, the others followed. Oh, the car that's going very, very well indeed is the Aston Martin in the middle of the pack, and the Ford Mustang, the taller cars, doing well. Lancaster in second, Lariche leading the way. Just waiting to check which of the elite McLarens it was, because it was a better start from 5th on the grid for Alex Denning than it was from Josh Rattican. 1 row in front of him. This is the view. Schumacher CLRT car number 55 going through the second chicane. That's the Alpine of the AM class leader, Pascal Houteau, sharing with Laurent Ergon through the first of the Lesmos. The second one is where the drivers have been coming unstuck. You can already see some gravel on the exit of that, and what I'm starting to sense is that Benjamin Lariche, we've got safety car. That's why Benjamin Lariche built a little bit of an advantage, so it's probably what happened down at the first chicane. Gerrit Geddick is off at the side of the track, so really unfortunate for Borusan Automotive. So that is at he's off at the side of the track at the first chicane. I feel there are some other tumblers. Indeed, there's one of the Porsches sitting sideways, because Geddick's car, you could almost remove that before the others come around. And the number 60 came and had its moments this morning for Resume More Than Racing, Gustavo Xavier and Richard Wolff, and that is Gustavo Xavier, the Brazilian driver who started. But there were, as I said, about half a dozen cars, maybe even as many as 8, going straight on at that first chicane. So the safety car bunches the field. I can give you the order now, as I can in a second, just to confirm. When they come round to compete the first lap, they were stopped in their progress when they weren't even halfway around the lap. They saw the waved yellow flags, those first sightings of the safety car boards. Right, very close between the 2 elite motorsport McLarens, and I think there was a change of position, but it's around the middle order. Someone would have locked up. Okay, no, it's towards the tail of the field, and who went straight on up? Well, we saw about half a dozen cars. Let's take a look from above. The leading car from pole position, Benjamin Lariche, turns in very nicely and neatly. John Lancaster tucks in behind him, and whichever of these elite McLarens were. And then it was from about 40th position backwards. Pretty much everyone volunteered to go straight on. A couple of cars got rear-ended, and I think that you can see the aquamarine BMW of Yagis Geddick parking up at the side. But the problem was at the back. The front was fairly near. Oh dear, one of the cars really got its nose high in the air, and in fact I would sense that's the number 60. Yes, it is. The number 60 Cayman hit the back of another car, rose in the air. Whether it was Yagis Geddick who was hit, but that car got parked. Right, this is a view from Josh Rattican, starting 3rd on the grid. Sister car, I think, is about to come down the outside of him with Alex Denning on board. Or is it? There's the Aston Martin of Safronov. Yeah, there goes the sister car. So Alex Denning, a very good start. So he's the one who's moved up to 3rd place, and maybe a little caution there from Josh Rattican, or maybe just not the best of starts, but he started 3rd and he's fallen back to 6th position. But then again, he can apply a little bit of caution today, because when you're close to landing the championship, you don't want to risk it all. And Emil Heyerdahl was another driver who gained positions. He started the race in 7th position. He's got up into 4th. You can just see his white and orange nose Porsche going through short. So the safety car leading the field around. Benjamin Lariche did what he needed to do from pole position. John Lancaster likewise from 2nd on the grid. But it gets so tight down into that first chicane, and you can throw it all. But if you're on the outside, how much do you want to throw caution to the wind, because you're more likely to be used as a bouncing ball by those who come down the inside. But then again, if you go down the inside, you're not on the best line, so you're going to be slow on the exit. You know, it's the balance that all these drivers have to consider. And the clock continues to count down. Let's have another look at the restart at the start of the race. Benjamin Lariche gets it absolutely right from pole position, the red, yellow and blue Audi. And then we've got the change of position from Alex Denning diving up the inside, not quite getting into second from where he was, fifth at the start on the grid, and it was in behind that the problems came. You often get sort of concertina effect as the back markers are slowed by those in front who braked rather more heavily, often to avoid others, and a whole host of them having to feed their way through and around the chicane marker boards. But we're waiting for the safety car to come through. Right, incident between cars 60 and 11 under investigation, or noted. Number 11 was the Yagiz Gedik's BMW, and number 60 was the car that I think rose up the back of it, which was Gustavo Xavier in his black and white number 60 Porsche Cayman. So certainly 2 cars came to blows, and about half a dozen other cars followed them off the circuit. So we're waiting particularly for the number 60 Porsche to be shifted, and then I'm sure we can get going again. So right now, for all the drivers out on the track, it's a case of getting the heat in the tyres, keeping the heat in the tyres, focusing on who's the driver ahead of me, how well do I know him, what's he like in the heat of battle, can I get a good tow and sail up the inside of him and gain positions. All these things have to be considered, but at least in the second part of a championship year, you get to know the other drivers around you. Do they tend to stick to one line or another? Are they cool and calm? Are they forgiving? Because many a situation you just don't want someone around you who's going to risk it all. So again, swinging around. Josh Ratican looking at the back of Stanislav Safronov's Aston Martin, who in turn is looking just ahead of him up the track to Emil Heyerdahl's Porsche. So down to the first corner we go. Still looking at the warning boards flashing away. Still cars being cleared. Still that number 60 Porsche just being about to be winched through the gap in the barriers. And then I think once that gone, no, we've still got number 11 BMW sitting hard against the barriers there. And that was the one I think was used as a braking point by the Porsche. It really is a game of chicken down into that first corner, the first chicane on the opening lap of a race. So I did talk about Tom Leben and Josh Ratican. They're on 135 points, and that gives them a 56-point margin. And with another race, well, a race today, a race tomorrow, and 2 races at the end of November at Jeddah, there are 100 points to play for. 25 points times 4. 56 points, that's a good margin. Now, of the chasing crews, Robert Consani and Benjamin Lariche, they're leading this race. If they stay there, they get the 25 points. They close the margin a little bit. But the other car, the other crew that are equal in second place in the championship, notably Benjamin Lessen and Ricardo van der Ende, their car started way down the grid. It's sitting in 33rd. If this race was running green at the moment, you could be sure Ricardo van der Ende would be working his way up the order to atone for this awful qualifying position for them. But they've only got 17 cars behind them. 3 cars have retired from the race, so they will make it their way forward. But Ricardo's skills for the moment are being held up, stymied, if you will, from the safety car that's leading the field around. Waiting for that BMW number 11 to be shifted from the exit of the first chicane. Well, the entry of the first chicane, really hard against the barriers. That ought to be cleared now. They've got rid of the number 60 Porsche to the side of the circuit to a point of safety. So the brilliant high shots looking down over the cars as they work their way through the wooded parts of the circuit. And then any moment now they will duck their way into the Ascari chicane. We've seen quite a few drivers getting in the gravel here as well. Drivers and teams still becoming accustomed to the extra level of grip. We had a few cars dipping their wheels into the left-hand gravel trap there and going for a spin just a short while ago in the McLaren Trophy race. And then the end of the lap has not been changed for many a year. It's this run down the back straight to the Parabolica, also known as the curvy Michele Alboreto, after the great Ferrari driver, such a popular driver across the course of the years. John Lancaster sitting in second place, SC board still being held, lights still flashing on the roof of the Lamborghini that's leading the field around, so all the drivers know they've got at least one more lap before racing start under investigation. That is standard procedure. They're going to have a look, but particularly at Monza, you need to look at most of the starting shots, moving footage many times to just work out who was doing what to whom. One person completely blameless in the incident was Benjamin Lariche. He led away from pole position. John Lancaster just held on to second place, and Alex Denning, racer from Ireland, up from 5th to 3rd, passing his own teammate Josh Ratican, who went from 3rd back to 6th. But the front handful of cars fairly tidy. It's when they get it wrong that everything else unfolds. But then the next 30 cars or so got through, and it was really the cars from about around 40th out of the 50 cars that started to catch up with everyone else's problems and got involved. So drivers doing what they need to do at the moment. They'd rather be racing, but each time they're getting a report from their teams, and they'll be looking as they go past the first chicane to see if the cars are being cleared. Will it be next time around? Will it be at the end of this lap they're released? And of course, for the driver at the front of the queue, for Benjamin Lariche and John Lancaster, who's sitting behind that leading Audi in his McLaren, they'll be getting a line of sight to the safety car. Are the orange lights on the roof still flashing? Yes, they are. And now, with a bit of a push and a shove and importantly a tow, the number 11 BMW for Borusan Automotive Motorsport, Yagiz Gedik, the Turkish driver, is being pushed out of the way. So his Brazilian teammate Pedro Ibrahim will not get a part in this first race. We'll do it all again tomorrow. The race held earlier in the day. It's the last race of Saturday here at Monza this evening, and tomorrow the GT4 action will come earlier in the day, around lunchtime, 12:35, the second of the 1 hour races. And as I said, the final round of the championship will be on a circuit new to all of these drivers, almost flat out blast sequence of pretty much as many as 30 corners, if I recall right, or 28 around the Jeddah circuit, known in Formula One. Blind corners, super flat out. Is going to be a massive challenge. And even at the end of November, the temperatures will be fairly high in Saudi Arabia. Safety car in at the end of this lap. That's the news we're looking for. There we are, the lights out on the roof of that car. So Benjamin Lariche has spotted that. He's holding the others behind him. They can't pass him until we pass the start-finish line, but it's up to him to decide when he floors the throttle and whether John Lancaster will go with him, because if you just react half a second faster than the driver behind, that's a little bit of an advantage, and I think Benjamin Lariche has already put the pedal to the floor. Everybody else is running in behind him. No one can pass. A few cars further back still weaving. No, I think, the gap has opened out between first and second. Benjamin Lariche is going. John Lancaster tucking in behind in the McLaren. His teammate Rafael Martinez will be hopping up and down and waiting to take that car over. But a brilliant restart from Benjamin Lariche. Has made a break already. Looks superb both in his hands and Robert Consani, their speed car, team speed car Audi. Crosses the start-finish line 9/10 of a second. He gained about 3/4 of a second there by getting his reaction time right. And Josh Ratican being given almost a push and a shove by Eric Evans in the Mustang. Holds on. There is our championship leader, 6th in the line of cars, turning into the first chicane. Will everybody get it right this time around? They're a bit more strung out than they were for the rolling start when we had 25 rows and 2x2. This time it's 47 cars in 1x1 formation as they came over the start-finish line. They've learnt a few lessons. Looks like everybody's got through, but 0.9 of a second advantage at the start of this first lap. Once we've restarted the race, seems to have stretched already. The rest of the cars almost nose to tail, but Benjamin Lariche has just been very comfortable on tyres that wouldn't have been at full operating temperature. And in behind, Alex Denning is looking left, looking right. He's the second of those two McLarens. He's in the yellow and black colour scheme of Elite Motorsport. And right in behind, Emil Heyerdahl in the orange and white Porsche must be thinking, hold on, if they fight like that, they're going to slightly delay each other and me. But then again, if they fight that hard, they may have a moment and I can come through. But he's actually now being pushed very hard by the Aston Martin in 5th place of Stanislav Safronov. Down into the dip they go, under the banked circuit that still sits there, doesn't get raced on anymore. Into the shade, then back into the sunshine when they burst out into the Ascari chicane. And looking into the chicane, this is the battle for 2nd and 3rd positions. Going out of shot is the race leader, Benjamin Lariche. Comfortable. Oh, Third place, McLaren dipping its wheel in the dust. Everybody else getting a faceful, but Alex Denning keeps it on the black stuff now, tucked in behind the lead McLaren. That's the one, number 812. John Lancaster, catchy number there, 812. Now, are we getting place changes in behind NM Racing team? We heard from one of their drivers down on the grid, that was Alexander Papadopoulos, but Luke Ibanez, his teammate, being harried. Now we're getting some fantastic slipstreaming. 3 abreast down the start-finish straight. This is around 10th position. I can't tell which of those are going to cross the line and have the position, but the Aston Martin at the back gaining a fantastic tow. Taking a look, is possibly going to pass all 3 of them. That was fantastic if he can pull that one off. Still no changes at the front. Oh, Eric Evans has fallen back a little bit. He was right on the tail of, oh dear, that's really unfortunate for the Aston Martin that gained so much ground. Mateo Villa Gomez, he did all the hard work and got none of the reward being shoved wide. At least he's kept going, but he's fallen off the tail of that little battle. There goes Luke Ibanez, the gunmetal and red Mercedes, and that got very, very busy. But here's our race leader, Benjamin Lariche. John Lancaster holding on to 2nd place. Alex Denning 3rd. Emil Heyerdahl in his orange and white Porsche in 4th. Stanislav Safronov and championship leader Josh Ratican doesn't want to take any risks. He's sitting on the tail of the Aston Martin there. And importantly for all the drivers, they're just about staying on the black stuff as they go through the first of the Lesmos. The second one, lots of drivers have been hooking their wheels into the dirt there. When you get the dirt on your tyres going over the gravel, it doesn't help your traction down the straight. Again, look at this flurry of cars. Nose to tail, different manufacturers, almost identical pace. Who's going to crack in the heat of this action? These cars hit about 160 miles an hour down past the pits. You know, when they're going down pit exit, they're really flying. Very, very busy in the heat of the battle there. Andy Cantu, car number 16, going very nicely indeed. He's lying 3rd in the AM Drivers' Championship. Probably forgotten that at the moment. He's just concentrating on his racing position. Yeah, there's Cantu, middle of your shot, NM Racing team, and his teammate a little bit further up the track ahead of him. Yeah, Luke Ibanez lost him for a second. He did just lose a position. He's fallen to 9th place. Right, 1st to 2nd, Benjamin Lariche, John Lancaster, 1.246 seconds. Some good slipstreaming happening there. And oh, have we just had a change for 3rd place? Almost, but not quite. Alex Denning on the outside holds on to 3rd. His yellow McLaren, but Emil Heyerdahl has got his nose in front. He's on the outside line in the orange-white Porsche. And tucked in behind, Stanislav Safronov wants to take all of them. I'm telling you what, who also may pass all of them is the driver of this car, championship leader Josh Ratican. He's watching where they're going. Super, super close. And Alex Denning has lost 1 position. Yeah, the Porsche's gone past, and his teammate is watching it all happen. We're riding with Josh Ratican, but Emil Heyerdahl, car number 92 for Wimmerwerk Motorsport, has done a very, very good job there. That was robust racing, but looked pretty fair to me. Now the 2 Elite Motorsport McLaren's 4th and 5th position, because Josh Ratican used that moment to move past Stanislav Safronov's Aston Martin. So 4th and 5th for the 2 yellow and black Elite Motorsport McLarens. Remember, we heard on the grid from Tom Leben saying they don't have the greatest of straight line speed, but their cornering performance is phenomenal. It looked as though, in fact, suddenly the place gained. I thought it was about to be lost by Josh Ratican, but he kept the number 7 Aston Martin behind him. That was important. Now maybe he can settle down and get under the tail, the rear wing of Alex Denning's Artura up in front. He's flashing his lights. I'm here. Do you remember me? A race leader, though. Benjamin Lariche sitting comfortably in the lead. 1.25 seconds clear. And this lap's been good for John Lancaster. He's opened out almost a similar margin over that battle for 3rd place. Of course, Alex Denning lost that 3rd place to Emil Heyerdahl. Yeah, you can see back to Heyerdahl in the orange-white Wimmerwerk Motorsport. A little bit of a gap opening up. So the first 2 cars sitting comfortably, but no one else in the field is comfortable because literally nobody hasn't got somebody on their tail. A 1/10 of a second gain by Benjamin Lariche. Nearly 1.4 seconds clear now. And there's been a spin for one of the Toyotas on the exit of the Ascari chicane. Couldn't tell you just right now. Oh, when you're the championship leader, you do not want to be hassled like this. Josh Ratican really wants to get Stanislav Safronov off his tail. He wants to just sit on the tail of Alex Denning, his teammate, and see if they can catch Emil Heyerdahl in front of them, but does not want to be attacked. That got really rather close down into the chicane. incredibly competitive in the top 10. In fact, what we've got at the moment, down to 10th position, 5.5 seconds from the race lead back to that. Bear in mind our race lead is 1.4 seconds clear, Benjamin Lariche. So it means the next 9 cars are covered by just around 4 seconds. Yes, we had a safety car, but we've had the restart, and normally in many a championship they'd string out a whole lot more, but these cars balance the performance, and it really should give them an identical lap time around the course of a lap. And of course we've got driver changes during the race, and that can always make some teams gain and some would certainly lose. Very impressed with Emil Heyerdahl. He's moved to get up to 3rd place, and he's showing good pace thereafter. Fastest lap of the race, by the way, to a driver who we saw make a great move and then get shoveled wide. It was the number 82 Racing Spirit of Le Mans, Aston Martin. Jamie Day will be taking it over. Matteo Villagomez was the driver who's playing catch-up. Fastest lap of the race. He was shoved in the gravel. He's catching up. He's just coming in the background of your shot. He's about to be shoveled off the circuit all over again. Right next to Wimmer Motorsport Porsche. That's really getting very tight. It's even Etchelik who's right alongside him. God, fastest lap of the race so far. No improvement this time, but you can't imagine the Aston Martin would be having the problem. 2 cars in the pits. It's the Toyota number 13, which is Teichmann Continental Racing car of Vasily Vladikin. Also in the pits at the moment is, double check, it's Nelson Panciatici, car number 36. You'd normally expect him near the front end of a field for the Code Racing Development Alpine, but he's sitting in the pits, and there it is. Dare I say, well, I'm going to say it anyhow, it's settling down at the front. Benjamin Lariche has got this race under control, but he's not pulling away anymore, because John Lancaster's just taken 1/3 of a second out of him on the last lap. So I shouldn't have even started that sentence. John Lancaster, the 812 McLaren, settling down. What's happened there? He's got a bit of a margin over Emil Heyerdahl. He's been able to concentrate a little bit more on setting off after the race leader. And the pack behind, anywhere you look down this, how many cars have we still got out on track? 45 cars out on track. Everybody's having a battle. So hard to know where to look, where to point a camera. 77 ahead of 78. Importantly for Josh Rattican, at the moment, he's in 5th place. Remember, he fell from 3rd to 6th at the start. He's got his teammate in front of him, but Alex Denning is not going to want to cede position. Or is he? Will he get the message? Would be asked. This is a battle for 3rd place in the Silver Cup class. It's Alex Denning in front, Josh Rattican behind, and sounded a little bit on edge as both of them turned into the Parabolica, but is the second of those McLaren, Josh Rattican, can he get a tow? And now we're getting a move. That's Eric Evans. He's lost out in recent laps the Toyota of Eric Chelly, and now he's being challenged big time there by the Mercedes of Luke Ibanez. Wonderful high shot, looking down at the first chicane here at Monza. Autumn light shade coming in across the track. Action as tight as ever. Pretty much everyone in the end of the top 10 staying on the black stuff, not taking to the escape road, or the green stuff, also known as grass. Benjamin Lariche, his margin is almost exactly a second. This is the battle for 4th place. Every place that can be gained will offer more points. 4 places worth 12, 10 points for 5th. And still the elite motorsport drivers are fighting for position. Still others are fighting for position at the moment outside the points for most of these drivers further down the order. It matters not, it's Monza. They've got their GT4 cars into the 2nd chicane. They're going to try and take it 2 by 2. Or like 1.5 by 1.5 there. And Matteo Villagomez on this lap, who just banged it. He's done the fastest lap of the race thus far. And he's just actually done the fastest first sector anyway. He's down in 10th in that sort of acid yellow Aston Martin. Oh dear, yet another driver dipping. This is the exit of the second of the, well, in fact, I think it was the very driver of whom we spoke. Matteo Villagomez dipping a wheel in the dirt, and it sprays everybody else with dusts. And they've just got to remember which way the track goes. Oh, you could see that one coming. So unfortunate. The Mercedes goes round and deep into the gravel at the 3rd chicane, the Ascari chicane. Just found himself on the outside line of the circuit there, and around it went. number of cars getting noted for exceeding track limits, but that was, I think, Andy Cantu, who was a driver who went for the spin. Driver placed third in the AM class, just taking a look to see what's coming. No safety car warning as yet. Maybe it's too suitably out. Oh, well, gosh, this is really, really intriguing. The driver who's been making the moves is Eric Chelly, the number 9 Toyota. He didn't qualify enormously well. Matmut Evolution. He's got Enzo Giuli waiting to take it over, but he has certainly made progress. Safronov pushed back a position further down the order. Chelly has crept his way quietly up the order. He started on about row 6. Pit window has been delayed. There's the message. And full course yellow. So this isn't where anybody can gain. It is indeed Andy Cantu's car that went round for a spin. NM Racing Team Mercedes. Nobody can gain, but you don't get the field bunched up. I think that's a very fair way of dealing with things, because though there wasn't a giant lead for Benjamin Lariche, he doesn't want his 1 and a bit second advantage over John Lancaster's McLaren to come down to next to nothing. Let's take a look at the replay. Whole gaggle of cars now, and well, there was a bit of a push to the outside, a shoulder to shoulder, or shoulder to hip even, manoeuvre, and Andy Cantu on the outside, well, he had nowhere to go apart from straight ahead, and that led to it being looped around. His wheels just kissed the grass. Well, I think it was, I'm trying to see which Aston Martin was near him at the time. It looked like a bit of a shoulder barge there, but Andy Cantu rotated around. It might have been car number 74 that was alongside one of the Racing Spirit of Le Mans cars with possibly Alexandre Machado at the wheel, but I'd like to take a second look at that. But the outcome of that is full course yellow. The pit window is about to open and it's been delayed. The latch has been re-secured and the driver's not allowed into the pits as yet. Everybody else running at identical pace. There's a button in the car which puts them on the full course yellow speed limiter. So here's our race leader, Benjamin Lariche. John Lancaster will be tucked in behind him. In fact, he was starting to gain the last couple of laps. But I think when the full course yellow was thrown, it was 1.1 seconds. It's sitting like that now, but on the track, as I look at them now, it doesn't look as though that's 1 seconds. Now, the rescue isn't going too well at the moment because they're trying to get the chain onto the Mercedes. It hasn't quite worked, so it'll be another lap or so, I would suggest, in this delay. So here comes the field. It's Audi. It's led the whole way so far. 10 laps on the board. It was 9 on the board before the full course yellow was thrown. And it does seem incredibly low speed. They should all be running in the same pace. Emil Heyerdahl going so well in the orange and white Rimmerwalk Motorsport. Porsche holds down third place. He was quite solid in traffic. He picked off Alex Denning, and Denning has now got the sister car of Josh Rattican, so the 2 Elite Motorsport McLarens running in 5th and 6th position. And Etienne Chelly, who moved up the order, he started down in 11th position. He's up to 6th. He has chipped away bit by bit. He's not just got into groups with other cars, he's managed to pick them off. So the speed is there, and that is a crew that picked up, is one of the many winners. They won the opening round of the championship, a 2nd place since then, but 3 retirements is why they're nowhere in the overall reckoning. Right, cars 16 and 74. It was 74. Under investigation for that contact. So it was Alexandre Machado in the Racing Spirit of Le Mans Aston Martin that was on the left-hand side of the circuit from the driver's point of view as they approached the Ascari chicane. And Andy Cantu was on the right, and then not quite enough space to be on the right, and then suddenly on the grass into the gravel as he spun around. That car, the NM Racing Team Mercedes, looks as though they've got it properly hooked up now, and hopefully we'll get going at the end of this full course yellow period very soon indeed. However, of course, for most of the drivers, they were about to consider coming in because the pit window was about to open, but that has been delayed. No further action. That's the message. Cars number 15 and 74. No, that's a different incident. That's the same 74 Machado Aston Martin, but car number 15 is the other NM Racing Team car. Well, that would be Luke Ibanez at the wheel. So, hey, it's getting personal out there. Right. Safety car in at the end of this lap, so that sort of picked up the field, and that will come in. We had the full course yellow, then they could pick up the pace behind the safety car. Right, that's in at the end of this lap. And really the job of all the drivers in this field is to not hang back too much. Do it all over again. And for a lot of the drivers, it's that moment where the concentration may slip a little bit. I'm keeping an eye out for the full course yellow Sorry, the pit window. Car looking a little bit battered down there, a couple of places ahead of Pascal Hutto. So I think that's Julien Brich's car. Right, this is in the AM class, second position in class. Schumacher CLRT car number 55. Again, just great to just hear that sort of acceleration and braking around the circuit. That's Pascal Hutto, who's our championship leader in the AM class, sharing with Laurent Ergon. Pit window will open after the last car passes the line, so they'll all have to do one further lap. And I think the last car is some distance behind everybody else. So they're listening out of my commentary box window. However, the front pack, the pack of cars, it's Benjamin Lariche leading around. What's he thinking about when he's going to come in? Certainly can't come in this time around. Would he come in as soon as possible to hand at Robert Consani? They were both fastest in their sessions, 2 pole positions, 2 points before they even got racing. And how are the McLarens going to handle it for Elite Motorsport? Because the championship challenger is running second of those 2 yellow and black Arturas, and that is Josh Ratican. Now at full speed. Is it going to be neat and tidy going down into the first chicane? For Benjamin Lariche, yes. For John Lancaster, yes. Enough of a margin over Emil Heyerdahl. But Etienne Chelly, he's gained place after place, and again the championship leader is pushed out. He's got it back on the track. That is possibly... Is that going to be a championship clinching moment? Probably not, but he saved it. That could have been the moment where it all went wrong, and it wouldn't have been his fault. Finding yourself on the outside line. And now 2 abreast. Oh, close your eyes. They're coming up to the second chicane. Eric Evans is in the heat of the battle there as well. This is the tail end of the top 10. And suddenly Josh Ratican's day has got very, very busy. He's going to be going, Tom Levin, are you ready to take it over? And in the gravel on the exit of the second chicane, but keeping his foot planted, Josh Ratican holds on to position. It's been a horrible couple of corners for him. And if it does go on to become a championship victory, probably tomorrow rather than today, or possibly he's going to have to wait until Saudi Arabia and Jeddah at the end of November. But this is a time of an enormous attack and pressure. Is it safer to let Nuke Ibanez go because the NM Racing Team Mercedes punching its way past? And we've got the Lotus keeping out of the way on the right hand side of the circuit. That is car number 69. Good job, but he's got to wait for about 30 cars to come through, but better than that, tip them up. That's Stephen Lake being very, very sensible and gentlemanly. No problems whatsoever from our race leader, however, because Benjamin Lariche is clear. He can pit. The pit window will be open at the end of this lap. Now, the driver who's got the fastest lap of the race of 82, Mateo Villagomez, is down in behind, and it's enough for Josh Ratican. He's been given push, shoved, harried, and he's brought it into the pit lane. So he's the first of the front-running cars to come in. No, he's the second of them to come in and make a pit stop. But that got very, very hairy indeed. In fact, to tell you what, I'm talking not quite accurately, because it was Alex Denning, the sister car of Josh Ratican, continues. So he's going to let Denning, by position, dint of his track position, being in front of him, come and serve a pit stop this time around. And I think next time around, Josh Ratican will bring his in. But for Benjamin Lariche, yeah, that's why his lead has stretched over John Lancaster. Emil Heyerdahl right on his tail. Etienne Chelly now up to 4th place. As I said, Chelly and his teammate Enzo Giuli won the opening race of the opening round at Paul Ricard back at the start of April. They've been on the podium at the second race for second place and not been within a sniff since then. Won 6th place and nothing else thereafter. But their pace is looking very, very good. The Toyota now just coming in the background of the shot. Tucked in behind is Stanislav Safronov, Luke Ibanez, NM Racing Team, and then it should be Josh Ratican. Nathan Van Springle, Belgian driver, sitting there, and this time around we get the second of the McLarens coming to the pits, Tom Empson, but Benjamin Lariche, now having too much fun, continues on his way. It's been good on the restart for Lariche. Not only did he stretch his advantage, it was about 1.1 seconds before we had the full course yellow and then the safety car, but he's bashed it out to 1.5 seconds. These could be crucial, crucial moments in the outcome of this race, because he knows that Robert Consani has got that car flying as well, And certainly any tenth of a second he can gain will just be very welcome from his teammate. Keeping an eye on the position of Josh Rattican. He's 7th at the moment. And effectively, really only one car ahead of him in the race has entered the pit lane last time around. They've now left. I would suggest next time around our championship leader is going to come in. Luke Ibanez starting to put in very, very fast laps. In fact, I think he has now set the fastest lap of the race. So he's just moved up ahead of Josh Rattican with all that sorting out, up into 6th place overall. Benjamin Reich, bit of bodywork sitting in the track. He's running wide enough out of that second chicane to avoid it. 2.1 seconds are good. He gained 6/10 of a second. Is he going to come in this time around to hand to Robert Consani? Normally your pit stops will come towards the very middle of the race, but if your first drive is going well, you can stretch him out towards the end. We're getting towards the end, but of course the pit stop window was delayed, so it means every one of the first drivers, driver one in all of these cars, gets a slightly longer stint than planned. So again, up the slight rise into the Ascari chicane. Looking there at number 15, Luke Ibanez, all over the tail of Stanislav Safronov. Etienne Celli not too far ahead of him, but bit by bit catching the 3rd place Porsche of Emil Heyerdahl. And in front of that, John Lancaster, the RAFA Racing Team McLaren, car number 812, holding down 2nd place. Oh, now a bit of a challenge happening a little bit further back. 2nd of the Wimmerwork Motorsport Porsches. Has got Cameron Lawrence tucked in behind. That's the other RAFA Racing Team McLaren. That was a car that certainly went very well in the 2nd qualifying session. I would say out of this 50-car field, probably about 20 cars, maybe 25, let's call it half the field for the sake of argument, have not yet served their pit stops. They're choosing the right moment to do so. It's also about where you're going to be relative to traffic when you come back out. Here's the championship leader, car number 78, Josh Rattican. Emil Heyerdahl has now dived into the pits from 3rd place. Etienne Celli had got up to 4th. He's dived into the pits. Our race leader, Benjamin Lariche, continues on his way. Now 2.7 seconds clear of John Lancaster. Each lap he is gaining about 6/10 of a second. These are really, really good laps. And you hear people in racing talking about maximise your in-lap. Get your pit stop right, maximise your out-lap. And for a lot of people, that's how they can gain positions. So Tom Empson has taken over the number 77 Elite Motorsport McLaren, so he's enjoying life back on the track. He's trying to pick up pace and see if he can build on the work that Alex Denning did in that first stint, where he went from 5th up to 3rd place. And car 82, the Aston Martin, has just been going so well in the hands of Mateo Villagomez. But you know, when you come in and make your pit stop, you're going to fall down the order. Jamie Day has taken that over, but it's best lap, 1 minute 54.9 seconds. So very, very impressive. Our race leading car has done a 1 minute 54.8 seconds, so just a whisker faster. But it's interesting, one is sitting at the top of the order, but that's because it hasn't been led and it hasn't served a pit stop. Will the driver change happen this time around? Right, let's see. There it is, the speed car Audi, I think, is going around for one further lap. Yes, there's confirmation. Benjamin Lariche lapping consistently fast. In fact, his last lap was his fastest. It was the fastest lap of the race. Let's see what he follows. 1 minute 48.4.8. 1 minute 54.8, 154.9. Super consistent. No one around him. From 2nd place, in comes John Lancaster. He brings his RAFA Racing Team McLaren. There it is, red, white and black, into the pit lane. His teammate Rafael Martinez waiting to take that one over. John Lancaster walks away. Flag of Cross of St George on his helmet, telling you he's from England. And his American teammate getting comfortable into the Artura. And let's see where that one comes out. But it came in from 2nd, so with a regular pit stop, it ought to go out into 2nd place. However, some of the 2nd drivers already in their cars, already really getting up to speed. So let us see. But certainly when our race leader, Benjamin Lariche, calls it a day, the pit window is still open. Its opening was a little bit delayed, but when he comes in to serve his pit stop, He's augmenting his advantage. He's now leading by 4.5 seconds, but that's because other drivers have pitted behind him. Luke Ibanez still staying out on the track. He's moved up to second place, but all the gaggle of cars we're looking at now as they approach the Parabolica had come in from the middle of the top 10, and they're back out on the circuit with their second drivers having taken over. And the Porsche started by Emil Heyerdahl, going very nicely indeed. That's back out on the track now in the hands of Raphael Renhofer, who's joined the crew this weekend. And out comes... Right, okay. Well, I wanted to see where the number 78 car would come out onto the circuit. We heard from Tom Leben on the grid, and he's come out behind a couple more cars than had been ahead of the car before the pit stop. But let's see, the Racing Spirit of Le Mans, Aston Martin, has moved ahead of him, and that's a car that showed pace, but it also went bouncing through the gravel. And let's see how that will sort itself out. But right now, Tom Leben settling down. Other drivers not settling down as they got down to the first chicane. They've rotated, and these are the sort of moments that can happen in front of you, beside you, or behind you, and they can affect your race. But for championship leader, the 78 McLaren, it's at the back of that little grouping behind the sister car. Now, here's our race leader, Benjamin Lariche. In, out, teammate Robert Consani about to slide on board. His margin was suitably large. They ought to be able to come back out unless there's a slip-up. And there was one of the front-running cars dipping a wheel in the gravel. It's managed to stay on the circuit, but that was a bit of a moment there for Raphael Renhofer, the young Austrian racer. So Renhofer coming under a lot of pressure there. Tom Empson right on his tail. Empson looking faster through the third chicane, shown superbly by the drone shot there. The yellow and black McLaren getting into a bit of a tow. Don't think he'll make a move into the Parabolica. He wants to position himself to get a slingshot around the final corner and then the tow hold the whole way down the start-finish straight. Meanwhile, Robert Consani waits the moment, minimum time at a standstill. He's sucked all of that up and he's about to go onto the circuit. He ought to be in front of this pair, but taking a look up the inside line, the Porsche running very wide. Raphael Renhofer has no answer to Tom Empson there, but sometimes the wide line is the quicker line out of the corner, and the group behind trying to stay close enough. There is our race leader coming back out. Now it's Robert Consani. And the Mercedes is coming away. Looks like Alexander Papadopoulos has moved the number 15 car. The Luke Ibanez started up into second place. That was very good work from them. Number 77. Oh dear, just there's still that spun Porsche sitting ahead of them, so the drivers will have seen that. That would have spooked them a little bit. But there was a place just gained there by Tom Empson, looking for the sister car. And there's Tom Le Bon, just at the background of the shot. Just remember, they started with a 56-point advantage. The number 78 McLaren crew. They got a little bit sorted out at the start, a little bit later on, but be neat, be tidy, and just do not clash. Well, two wheels up, and the sister car. Don't know how Tom Empson didn't have a spin. He was given a shoulder barge there by Raphael Renhofer, and as I said, at any moment things can change. And suddenly, for Tom Leben, not looking for any advantage, but just gaining two positions, and the bodywork rub there. That was the moment where he came across onto the 77 McLaren. I'm sure we'll see a replay at some point, but the 78 championship leading car, that was 2 places, if not 3 places gained. The sister car just in the background of the shot, trying to regain composure there for Tom Empson, but a real rodeo ride through the gravel, bouncing up and down with the orange and white Wimmerwerk Motorsport Porsche right alongside him, with Raphael Renhofer also bouncing up and down in his seat, metaphorically. High shot through the chicane, and full course yellow coming up in 10 seconds. Counting down towards that because we've got that Porsche sitting sideways in right ahead of the drivers in the first chicane. So full course yellow for the second time in this race. Full course yellow flag. Messages springing up all around the circuit. All the crews being notified. So Robert Consani leading this race by 3.6 seconds. In that number 3 team speed car Audi. Second place, Alex Papadopoulos. It's been a really good race. They've come up from 8th on the grid. Let's take a look at what happened, why we had the spun car coming down, and I can see precisely why, because used as a braking point there, unfortunately, one of the Porsches came back out and very nearly took out a rival. This is the moment at the second chicane. Tom Empson on the outside of the circuit. Then shoulder, 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 shoulder. And he holds it together, and in behind a little damage to the number 92 Porsche of Raphael Renhofer. This was around about 6th position. They have rejoined the circuit, but one of them is damaged. And of the fallers, number 44 is being dragged away from the circuit down there. That was the one that got a bit of a shoulder barge down into that first corner. It was Maximilian Angelard in Allied Racing Porsche, blue and green livery. They've been running for so long and now being towed clear and then will be tucked behind the barriers along with some of the other cars. Or actually, is it getting going again under its own steam? We need to move it from the scene of the crime. Full course yellow. Message across to all the other drivers. Now, one of the teams I want to look for and see how it's made progress is the crew. Benjamin Nassen, Ricardo van der Ende. They were way down the order looking for their BMW. And Benjamin Nassen has got it up. Last time I saw it was 32nd position, now 17th place. So Ricardo van der Ende did a really good recovery drive, back up to full speed. That is the gap between first and second. That's Robert Konzani. Alexander Papadopoulos. Who's going to be next through? It should be Enzo Giuli. And everyone else settling down. A few cars sort of running out of sequence there. But that moment when they suddenly realise it's green flag, not all the drivers react quite as fast as others. I often say in motor racing, yellow flag leads to yellow flag, incident to incident, but sometimes the restarts are where it can go wrong. So lights flashing for some of the front runners. Wet weather, dry weather, it's always so difficult. There's Gabriele Piana, the taller BMW right behind Cameron Lawrence's McLaren, trying to get in the top 10. They're 10th and 11th positions. Rafa Martinez, the sister McLaren for the RAFA Racing team, just about to go through shot. He's lost a few positions. I think he's down to about 14th at the moment. Piana can't get past the McLaren into the Ascari chicane and almost put it off its balance as they're going through. Gosh, the scale of these cars. The BMW M4 sits up high, and of course the McLaren Artura sits down low, so they really look as though they race in different classes, but with balanced performance, that is not the case at all. Gives all the manufacturers to have a chance to see what they can get up to. But again, almost like the opening lap of the race, so many cars, and in the background of the shot, a shot full of colour, of performance, of speed, of noise. In the background of the shot, yet another driver kicking up the dust on the exit of the Ascari chicane. The Liqui Moly sponsored Ford Mustang trying to sweep around the outside. Plenty of racing between now and the end of the race. Into the final quarter of an hour of this 1 hour race. It's gone by in a flurry of activity. But right now we're looking at Robert Konzani leading this race by 3.3 seconds over Alexander Papadopoulos, and Jamie Day absolutely flying in the 82 Aston Martin. He just took it over from the driver who impressed so much in the opening part of the race for Racing Spirit of Le Mans, which was Mateo Villagomez, and that car's got pace, and there are more incidents at the first chicane. Lock it up. There is that escape road. You lose momentum. You have to hand back positions, come what may. But thank goodness the road is there. It was a 74 Aston Martin, also from Racing Spirit of Le Mans. David Kuhlman, who had the wide moment. The various lines you can take through the chicanes, and avoiding it entirely isn't one the organisers like too much, and the stewards there. That was the second chicane. It's really difficult corner. The first chicane, you can see your entry to the corner all the way down the start-finish straight. The second, you can't really until you get to the point where you're turning into the corner. It really is nip and tuck. There's Rafa Martinez almost being given a rub by the number 74 Aston Martin, getting super busy down in the pack. Fantastic shots they go under the flyover. The flyover, of course, carries the original circuit. Oh, pushes very nearly rub, or a little bit worse, into the Ascari chicane. Braking as late as you can. You do not want to use a rival as a braking board. And through that battle, Benjamin Lassen has been picking his way up the order. This was the car that was way down. Look for the BMW for the L'Espace Bienvenue team, picking his way, gaining places, going towards the points. The points are awarded from first down to 10th place, and everyone is going to count. And so there we are with one of the crews at second place in the championship, struggling even to get a point. It's more of an advantage for the 78 crew. Tom Leben's running in 5th place at the moment. The crew will be keeping him informed of where his championship rivals are at the moment. We know for sure one of the crews equal in second place, but started this race 56 points down, is sitting in the lead of the race, nearly 4 seconds clear. And for the rest, it's going to be anybody's guess as to in which order these cars finish. It's fast, it's furious. Fantastic racing here around Monza for the GT4 European Series. And Nathan van Springel has handed over to Nico van Donk. And Nico making some good moves in that number 1 Ford Mustang. That's the one we've seen having lots of battles. It's blue and white. There it is, bouncing over the curbs at the second chicane, getting a very good exit and trying to use that good exit to go past one of the rival Porsches. I think it was Florian Brichet who was being shoved out of the way there. But if you've got a good exit from a chicane, you've got to maximise. And now all over the tail of Rafael Martinez in front of him. More cars running wide in the gravel. All momentum lost there, or certainly a bulk of it. Oh dear. Phew, I looked up for a second, thought it was the team speed car race leader that picked up a puncture. Not a bit of it, thank goodness, from their point of view. Well, is that one going to stay on the rim? And that one is shedding bits as it goes. Certainly from such a brilliant race, you do not want to lose your lead team speed car. And I think it was the sister car of Nicholas Markovic. I'll check that in a second. But what I can tell you for sure is our race leading car is still the race leading car. It's Robert Consani building on the work that his teammate Benjamin Lariche produced in the first half of the race. Sitting on a lead now of 5 seconds. They're going to get the maximum of 25 points plus the point for pole position. They'll add 26 points to their challenge. But let's see, the crew they're chasing, albeit from a distant points position, is the number 78 car. Not the McLaren we're looking at now, but the sister car. 77 of Tom Epson is in 4th place. Tom Leben is a little distance behind in 6th, but if he comes home in 6th, he will pick up 8 points. That would be handy, just to stem the flow. He'll lose 17 points, but they came here with a 56-point advantage, so it does leave them looking good. In fact, Tom Leben in the background of the shot. No one immediately behind, so pressure off. He's in fact got huge margin over the car that's running in 7th, which is Nikolai Moller-Madsen, the number 91 entry, Women Work Motorsport. We saw those all together. So pressure off from behind. The clock is their friend as well into the final 10 minutes. In fact, under 9 minutes remain in the race for our championship leading duo. Today, though, in qualifying and then in the race, it's absolutely belonged to the team number 3, Team Speed Car crew. Right. 10 seconds. Car 74 was adjudged to be at fault in that collision going down into the chicane. So that was Alexandre Machado, his car will get an extra 10 seconds to its time at the end of the race. So a little bit too robust for the race stewards there. And David Coleman's down in 27th place. He loses 10 seconds. That will put him down to about 33rd, 34th position. Keeping an eye out for any further penalties, but I don't think any of the front runners are under consideration for anything. But the drivers of car number 4 and 44 under investigation for their contact down in turn 1, the first chicane. That will be considered after the race. Car number 4 was the AV Racing Porsche. We saw that ending up out of position. And car 44 was another Porsche Cayman diving in. That was the Allied Racing car. I won't apportion blame on that one. No blame attached to Robbo Consani leading the way. Gabriel Piana, just seeing him in shot. Little bodywork, rear bodywork dragging off his rear of his car there. And Gabriele Piana's worked his way up to 7th place, just past Nikolai Moller-Madsen. Not going to advance any further from there unless someone in front has a problem. You can see the bodywork hanging off. That'll be a little bit lighter on the scales if it comes away. Still, the racing goes on the whole way down the order. The certain irony is the only racing that's not happening is the very front, because Robert Consani is just looking supreme, building on all the work of Benjamin Lecen. Whole gaggle of cars just outside the tail of the top 10. Battle for lead in the AM Cup, though, is chasing up very nicely indeed. Car number 33 holds the position for now. That's in 24th position overall. He's got the championship leader, Laurent Ergon, behind him, but car number 33 is hanging on. Can it last the remaining, 6.5 minutes in that position? It's Schumacher CLRT in 2nd place, but car 33 is the Shell Technology Alpine in front. It's Alpine from Alpine in the AM class. There they are, nose to tail. So much to watch. This is the battle scene from the car that's leading the AM class in the championship, but not on the track. And Laurent Ergon looking left, looking right. Can he pull off the move? Not there, he can't. So very, very tight indeed in the AM class, but not much time for positions to change. Maybe just the Chazelle technology course car can stay ahead. He's got a McLaren between him. He's just turning in the yellow, white and blue Alpine, then the McLaren holding onto the position between them, and then there's Laurent Ergon. But they're sitting on a 68-point margin. That will almost put the championship into the pot. I could try and do some maths, but the next 5 minutes might come too fast for me. Right, car 92 is another car that's going to get a time penalty added at the end of the race, because that was for contact. 5-second extra added to the Wimberworth Motorsport car. That's Emil Heyerdahl, but it was Raphael Renhofer. Remember, he was side by side with Josh Empson. And suddenly Rafael Martinez just given a push, a shove and a spin into the first corner. Certainly don't think anything was, no blame can be attached to him. He was used as a braking marker point there. And there he's sitting sideways. The car that hit him, car number 46, with Navarro at the wheel, is also blessé, as you would say in France. It's also injured, and that one clouted into the back of the McLaren. And I'm afraid Jean-Laurent Navarro was probably the driver who's going to pick up the blame there. Normally, if you hit a car in front, it's your problem. Right, 5.7 seconds is the margin between first and second. Looking at the Chazelle technology, of course, Leandri at the wheel, leading the AM class. That's down in 21st position, but he's got two cars. Well, in fact, he just lost them. The two cars he had between him and the chasing Laurent Ergon had that moment down into the first chicane. Could so easily have caught the tail end of the class leader. So sometimes fortune comes your way. Waved yellow flags, not too surprisingly there, as they come into the Ascari chicane. And safety car, and the message is received. Well, you've got Rafael Martinez, McLaren, stricken in the track on the exit of the first corner, first chicane, and the car that hit it, the number 46 Porsche, sitting on the infield. But for our race, it had a nearly 6-second advantage. That's Robert Consani. I wouldn't have thought with just, 3.5 minutes remaining on the clock that this race will go green again. Let's take a look at what happened. Right, there's the AM class leader, yellow, white and blue Cayman. And then from some distance back, as Rafael Martinez McLaren was turning in, the number 46 Porsche came a galloping. And unfortunately, up the inside at that point, he realised the McLaren had turned in. Look in the background of the shot. There's the McLaren, middle of the shot, 1, 2, 3, and hit it pretty much mid-rank along the side. Jean-Laurent Navarro will not want that on his honours tape there. So round it goes. And yes, you can see the point of impact on the midriff of the McLaren there. That would have come as a big shock for Rafael Martinez. And there is his McLaren, stricken in the track. Brilliant shot from above, not one that Rafael will want to look at. And the number 46 Porsche, Jean-Laurent Navarro, with a few of his own vital juices leaking down onto the infield there. So I'm sure this race will end under safety car, and it will lead to a deserved victory for the driver who started from pole position, for Benjamin Lariche, the team speed car Audi driver. And there he comes behind the Lamborghini pace car, the safety car. Robin Consani, his teammate at the wheel. They have had a supreme Saturday here in the increasing sunshine, the ever-improving day at Monza, but no day has improved as much as them. Some of their rivals, the day has suddenly had a bit of a downward turn, but there can be no question that the dominant force today has been the team speed car, number 3 crew of Benjamin Lariche and Robert Consani. They were confident on the grid. They were sometimes thinking, just got to get down to the first corner first, and let, if there are any problems, happen behind us. And as it happened, it was about 40 positions further back the first time into the chicane that we had contact. The front end of the field was very tidy, but every time the field had been bunched up and there was a restart, first Benjamin Lariche and then Robert Consani had everything under control. But I would also give a lot of applause to number 15 crew. There they are in second place. Alex Papadopoulos at the wheel of that. We heard from the American driver on the grid, and he's done a fantastic job along with Luc Ibanez. First part of the race, it was around the tail of the top 10, but the battling got good, and the timing of their pit stop also helped. Third place, Jamie Day. There he is, the number 92. Racing Spirit of Le Mans Aston Martin. That was the car that gained 3 positions going down the start-finish straight in a 4-car battle, and then shortly afterwards was shoveled into the gravel. set the fastest lap of the race and then brilliant comeback, and then again good pit stop. Timing for them, and Jamie Day going to finish that off. And yellow flags around the circuit. Still, this ought to be the final lap. Yes, it is. Final lap. Safety car, under a minute to go. And for the drivers out there, they can calm down just that little bit. And from Tom Le Bon, he managed to keep his car out of trouble. This was the car started as championship leading car number 78. It's the second of those two yellow and black McLarens. The sister car is running in 4th place. And Tom Le Bon, there's a lapped car in that group. No, there isn't. Tell you what, it's the Toyota of Enzo Giuli running around in 5th place. So it's Audi, from Mercedes, from Aston Martin, from McLaren. That is how we like it. And then Toyota next. In fact, with the BMW in 7th place for Gabriele Piana, a Porsche and a Ford, we have an incredible array of cars, as they're all made to straight line, go up the escape road at the first corner, because those two stricken cars still sitting on the track. But amazing manufacture variety, an unusual level of dominance in a championship that is as tight as this one. No victory today for the championship. Elect drivers Tom Le Bon and Josh Rattican, but absolutely every tribute should go to Team Speed Car for the number 3 Audi crew, Benjamin Lariche and Robert Consani. They'd love to have ended it under a regular checkered flag at full racing speed, but they've proved it more than enough in this 1 hour race of many encounters that they are deserved winners of the first of the 2 races here at Monza. Early September, beautiful evening sunlight here, and a job incredibly well done. And amazingly, in all that, despite showing form through the season and consistent speed, they had a trio of second places. This is the first win of the season for the number 3 Team Speed Car Audi. But for the number 78 crew, they kept out of trouble somehow in this race. Josh Rattican kicked it off, didn't make the best of starts. The car went from 3rd down to 5th, down to 6th. But whenever trouble happened, it seemed to happen very, very close to them. And you can see a few of the cars bearing the scars of battle. I'm looking for any further potential penalties for other cars in the field. I can't say, but it got very, very close for Josh Rattican and Tom Le Bon in that race. But I think they'll heave a sigh of relief. They're going to put 8 points in the bag for that 6th place. In the Pro-Am battle, it was Mirage Racing. Alexander Weintraub going to be coming home in strong position in his Aston Martin. Fallen back to 13th overall, but victory has really gone very, very well for them in that class. So the final lap here at Monza. Last 2 cars crossing the line to start their final lap. Benjamin Lariche, is he going to climb the railings, or is he just going to a nonchalant wave to his teammate? But you can feel, yep, get up high, welcome him home under the safety car. But he started the race from pole. He led the race, wasn't troubled. He pulled clear. He got pulled back with safety car period, and then his teammate Robert Consani has done precisely the same job, ending the race under the safety car with that incredible mix of cars behind. It's Audi, from Mercedes, from Aston Martin, from McLaren, Toyota, another McLaren, a BMW, a Porsche, a Ford, and a 3rd McLaren completing the top 10. But it's an Audi that's found the winning form here, and that they started today thanks to those 2 pole positions, giving them 2 points, and that moved them equal second in the championship. Now they're firmly second in the championship. But for Josh Rattican and Tom Le Bon, putting the points in the bag for 6th place, it's a helping hand. They kept out of trouble, only just, but they did the job. So a very, very happy Benjamin Lariche. They're really finding a rich vein of form here at Monza. They've got their Audi working incredibly well. Next best Audi in the field, by the way, was 31 positions further back. So it's not all about having an Audi, it's about making it work. And in fact, that was the number 300, which is also entered by their team, by Team Speed Car. So for a lot of the drivers in the pack, they're going to want to re-watch the highlights of that race and work out where it went right, and for others where it went a little bit wrong. But nothing went wrong for the driver who's bringing it home in the lead of the race. Started on pole, or his teammate did, Benjamin Lariche, handed over to Robert Consani. Alexander Papadopoulos, the American racer, took over the number 15 Mercedes from NM Racing Team teammate Luke Ibanez, and that advanced up the order very nicely indeed. 8th at the start, coming home in 2nd. That's a job well done. But it today really belonged to Team Speed Car. A little pat on the back too for the number 82 crew from Racing Spirit of Le Mans. It bounced through the gravel, got back down to terra firma. Matteo Villagomez really started in the early part of the race, but Jamie Day brought it home at the end, and that was a good result, up to 3rd place for them. The cars sounding so different when their engines are dialed back off their full racing pace, the full racing roar. But I think anybody who got to the front end of the field, anyone who got up to the top 10 did a really supreme job today. It was very, very fearsome action out there. A few fallers, a few bits of contact, a few drivers dropping wheels in the gravel, but it would have been hot out there. Robert Consani trying to get a bit of welcome breeze into his car. Nobody wants to end a race under safety car, but if anything had tripped up victory, in fact, any of those top 3 positions from these crews, they really deserved it. Elite Motorsport very much in the mix with their 2 McLarens, both of them in the background of the shot. But it's the second of those 2 with Tom Leben, who will be perhaps heaving the largest sigh of relief, because it all seemed to be happening around him. At any moment, it could have been a non-score. They needed to score some points to edge them towards the championship title. And here is the finishing order. The margin in the end under the safety car of a second, that matters not. Benjamin Lariche and Robert Consani dominated for Team Speedcar in their Audi. Great charge up the order for Luc Ibanez and Alex Papadopoulos in their Mercedes. And then Matteo Villagomez and Jamie Day, both stars in the Aston Martin that came home in 3rd place. Alex Denning, Tom Empson, yet another solid job in their Elite Motorsport McLaren. Etienne Celli, Enzo Giuli worked their way up from way back down the order to get into 5th place, just ahead of the championship leaders, Josh Rattican, who started off, and Tom Leben, who brought it home. And winners today, Chazelle Technology Corsa. They got their Alpine to the front of the queue, only just, but that's what counted. They pick up maximum points. But overall winners here today, it's Team Speedcar all the way. Benjamin Lariche, Robert Consani, and the bulk of the cars got round to the finish. We started with 50 cars, and I would sense that we ended up doing the maths there. 37 cars got to the finish, with the final flurry losing a couple of their rivals. 1 car failed to start. That was the Aston Martin that Roberto Faria crashed in qualifying today. Hopefully that can be fixed for tomorrow. But Robert Consani, he's not all fingers and thumbs. It's just quite hard when you're still chock full of adrenaline to undo your helmet straps. But you can't see the smile, but you sense it's within. And Benjamin Lariche getting his Pirelli Victor's hat, and Robert Consani will don his as well. It's not just a win, that was a really spectacularly good win. And have they found a vein of form, they can carry on through tomorrow when they'll start from pole again and to the final, to the circuit. Nobody knows the circuit at Jeddah, but give the good old car, give the girl a pat. Team Speedcar have really got it hooked up. So let's go down and hear from our race winners. It's car 3, Benjamin Lariche, who started, and Robert Consani. I think they're going to be very happy.
Brilliant result. The win, it's a shame to finish behind the safety car, but it's the result that counts. C'est dommage de finir derrière le safety car, mais félicitations, c'était un super course, textbook.
Thank you. But yes, for sure it's difficult because you have too much safety car on this race, and Benjamin make a very good race. He make a big gap only time you have the safety car and the gap is completely delayed. So I'm happy. The car worked very well. Everything is okay. Now think about tomorrow for the race too.
Benji, well controlled there that first. It was difficult, right?
Yes. It was difficult because through safety car. So I was thinking about Misano when I lost the victory because the restart. So I was thinking two things: to do a great restart, to be out of the 2, because here when you are out of the 2, you win 3-4 tenths, and I did the job. I was very happy to make good job for the restart and to keep my rhythm and my pace, and we are happy because it's important to score a lot of points for the championship. We are in life. We can win the championship. Even there is a big gap with the McLaren, but we never know. So tomorrow, compared to last year, we hope finish the race and maybe in the same position. Thanks for the team because they did a great job, and we improve a lot all the season. So thanks to Pascal and all the team Speedcar.
And a great job from you two as well. Félicitations encore.
Merci.
Well, great to hear first from Robert Consani, then Benjamin Lariche. They did a supreme job. They had the race under control from the moment they started in qualifying. Both sessions they took pole position, but today in the race, in the end it came down to just a second. It was behind the safety car, but every time you're running at full racing speed, they got the job done. Second in the championship, they moved on that position this morning. They've cemented it this afternoon. Well, let's go down to here from our Pro-Am winners, the number 7 crew with Gemma.
Congratulations, a class win. How does that feel?
It feels great. It was a crazy race. Car feels like had a little bit of damage, but we fought to the end and we did what we could.
Yeah, it's a busy circuit. It's just so many cars and there's so much happening there. Those chicanes were tough, right?
Yeah, it's a nice track. We love it. And now it's very hard, very strong championship, and but we win.
You did indeed. You won. Congratulations. Make your way to the podium, boys.
That was Stanislav Safronov and Alexandra Weintraub, who really were right up in the thick of the battle. I just want to take a quick moment to mention the position of the crew in fourth. Alex Denny and Tom Empson, fourth position today. Their best position previously, 16th. That is a massive step up for them. So for Elite Motorsport to have the championship leaders and the sister car now going really well, that is a massive boost for them. But that was a race packed with incidents. It's quite hard. Let's take a look at the highlights. Remember what's happened over the course of an hour, packed with action. Awesome sunshine, brilliant start from Benjamin Lariche on pole position. The battle behind got very, very tight indeed, with the fast starting Alex Denning moving from third past the sister car of Josh Ratican, who dropped from third on the grid down to sixth. A couple of cars, followed by about half a dozen more, getting it wrong into the first chicane, with Yannis Gedik's BMW being the most damaged. But every time there was a moment to get clear, it was a case of Benjamin Lariche pulling clear, and in behind, super, super busy. In the middle, you had Emil Heyerdahl in the orange and white Porsche going around the outside of Alex Denning. Looks though the Aston Martin of Stanislav Safronov would follow them through. But so close. But these are tip-top drivers, absolutely on their toes through that second chicane there. And then unfortunately a little bit of bodily contact, and that led to a massive spin. Andy Cantu on the outside and shoveled off into the gravel. In came Benjamin Lariche. He stayed out a long time after the safety car period, as long as he could, and then handed over to Robert Consani. A few other cars coming up the field, but some of the moves into the first chicane not quite as tidy and precise as they ought to be. This was a little bit of push and shove, and unfortunately Raphael Renhofer getting it wrong and pushing Tom Empson out onto the circuit. The tail of the McLaren kicking out, being brought back in line. That was a massive save. And then still things going on into the first chicane. If you're on the outside, you can get shoveled wide. And then Rafael Martinez turning into turn one, and the number 46 Porsche coming up and using him as a braking point. The safety car pulled in. Robert Consani controlled the restart and would stretch away all over again. There it was, the end of the race. Brilliant, brilliant run for Benjamin Lariche. Yes, he's happy. And Robert Consani, who brought it home. Win number 1 at Monza. So that has been quite a race here at Monza. We've got to do it all again tomorrow. Different grid order, but the same car starting from pole position. So can any of the rivals keep Team Speed Car and their Audi in check? Well, we'll wait and have to see what happens with that. But September racing at Monza, yeah, I'll take that every time. Beautiful weather, wonderful day. The driver's still getting used to the new track with all of its extra grippy new surface, and maybe some of the drivers lured into some of the corners a bit deeper than they would have wanted by the extra speed they were carrying. But it mattered not. It was really exciting racing, but nobody could hold a candle to the crew that came home. The Team Speed Car, number 3, Audi R8 LMS, and it was Robert Consani who brought it home, and Benjamin Lariche started. Will they do it again tomorrow? Well, let's find out. We'll have to wait and see. So day number 1 is out. The race tomorrow, the second of the GT4 European Series races, will kick off at 12:35 tomorrow. So it should be a higher track temperature. Crowds will be in the house. Good crowd here today at Monza. And let us see. But I think for Josh Ratican and Tom Lebon, they came here with this large lead. And they have managed to sort of keep it under control. But they were so close to being taken out several times. There'll be enormous sighs of relief. So the podium ceremony about to commence. And there's no difficulty in identifying the race winners there, because they did a fantastic job. You can see the smiles around there, the looks of relaxation, because it was a very, very tense battle around the circuit at Monza. With the 3 chicanes, it's always going to be tough, but other corners can catch them out as well, because certainly we saw so much of the gravel kicked up out of the 3 chicanes, and any driver following would either get a face full of dust or they'd end up with a car having to turn on marbles. But I'd say the driving standards were very, very impressive indeed today. And hopefully the car that didn't get to start, which was the number 39 Aston Martin, that will come out to play tomorrow, one of the Racing Spirit of Le Mans cars. But now the podium ceremony about to commence. And it's been a long day full of qualifying and then racing here on the new surface at Monza. And the applause ringing out. Victor Bouveng coming out onto the podium. Working our way through the classes. W&S Motorsport, they've sort of put on a very good performance here this weekend. It's a very special podium. This is the Pro-Am podium, and here comes Stanislav Safronov and Alexander Weintraub to the top step. So as the flags rise up, that second place in the Pro-Am category today really helps cement the position. Well, not cement, it's very, very close. The class leaders by 1 point taking victory today. The class chasers 1 point behind, coming in second place. So little margins just opening up a tiny bit. But the second place crew of Finn Zulauf and Max Kronberg looking still pretty happy up in the sunshine on the podium. So trophies raised high. Again, the 3 classes, Am, Pro-Am, and of course the overall, the silver class cars at the front of the field. That's normally where you find them, normally where you expect to find them. And the light superb for the photographers there to catch the expressions of the drivers up on the podium and that wonderful lofty position. And third place, of course, was Leicester Racing Team with their BMW. Victor Bouveng and Joachim Walder taking third place in the Prime class, number 98. And so, with a face full and stinging eyes, all drivers enjoying themselves up on that Pro-Am podium. So let's take a look. Alexander Weintraub and Stanislav Safronov leading, extending their margin to 8 points. They came here with a 1 point advantage over Finn Zulauf and Max Kronberg, and the Porsche crew came home in second in class. And Naima Bramczyk and Paul Petit, not one of the front runners today, they're sitting in third, but really now looking at that, with 3 races remaining, it's an outside chance for anyone other than those top 2 crews. Victor Bouvem, Joachim Walder, third today, advanced up to 6th in the championship, but it was those at the front end that delivered the sort of job that is the reason they're at the front end in the first place. So W&S Motorsport crew with their Porsche and the race class winning Mirage Racing Aston Martin doing a really rock solid job, running comfortably within the top 10. And so the overall podium, Jamie Day coming out, that's car number 82. This is the silver podium, not the Pro-Am, I beg your pardon. Alexander Papadopoulos and Luke Ibanez for NM Racing Team. But onto the top step, you've seen that face before, and that one as well. Robert Consani following Benjamin Lariche up onto the podium there. Silver class winners. So trophies coming out. The Marseillaise rings out for Team Speed Car, and Lydia Mariani from Pirelli Commercial Motorsport coming out on the podium. Matteo Villagomez and Jamie Day on the right-hand side of the podium. Third place for them. So an Audi beating a pair of Aston Martins at the end of an enthralling race. Lots of tales to tell from that one. Championship positions, though, still in the silver class, the overall class, in the hands of Tom Le Bon and Josh Rattican leading the way. Who's going to be on the top step tomorrow, we'll find out. But that was yet another crew taking a win in the championship. Team Speed Car they've been close to win so far this year, but they hadn't added one until this afternoon. But it was all about them on Saturday here at Monza, just getting things right every time they went out onto the circuit. Again, photographers arranging their crews to get in the all-important photo. And what follows photo? Fizz follows photo. Drivers have to do it again tomorrow, so they might want to save their race suits. Some of the quickest times of the day are those leaving the podium there. Certainly the crew. Matteo Villagomez getting very good traction there, but enjoying the sunlight, the victory trophy, and a little taste of the bubbly there. Benjamin Lariche. Are those tears in eyes, or maybe just champagne? But anyhow, fantastic job for the Team Speed Car Audi crew here at Monza. Right, here's confirmation. The championship advantage has come down, but only to 39 points. Consani and Lariche have moved into second place overall. Luke Ibanez and Alexander Papadopoulos second today. That moves them up. Benjamin Lassen and Ricardo van der Ende lost a little bit of ground there. They were second coming into this meeting, but didn't get a top result. They're down on 79 points. So is it opening into a two-way title battle, or can Ibanez and Papadopoulos carry the momentum through the second race here at Monza and the two at the finale in Jeddah in Saudi Arabia? But today it was a damage limitation for Josh Rattican and Tom Le Bon, and the job has been done well. There they are, 39 points clear, leading the silver class. So it's McLaren from Audi, from Mercedes, from BMW, the top four positions in the championship, with Enzo Giulian and Etienne Chele down in sixth place, and they were the crews that really worked their way up through the field. Now it's time for the podium in the AM class. The crews are coming out. Schumacher CLRT taking second place with their black and gold overalls, and waiting for the winning crew coming out onto the top step. And that look of contentment, happiness, got the job done. Chazelle Technology course. And for Jean-Mathieu Leandri, he did the race all on his own. He hasn't lost his teammate, chose to do it solo, and to do that and to beat two-man crews is a fantastic job there. Andre Pavillot raising his trophy high, but the crew that are leading the class, Laurent Ergon, Pascal Uto, there they are, second place for them today. That is helping their advantage. They didn't need much of a help because they led by 68 points coming here to Monza. Plenty of applause ringing out for all the crews who made it up onto the podium. Adrian Pavillot and Nicholas Markovits, by the way, with the crew in third place. Toyota Gazoo, Team Speed Car. So it's been a good meeting for Team Speed Car. Taking overall victory, third in the AM class. They got in the wars a little bit, but they made it through to the end of the race. But full applause there for Jean-Mathieu Leandri. Class victory for him today, and worked hard. Every single driver worked hard. It was an incident-packed hour here around the Speedrome at Monza. 102 years old, this circuit, still providing one of the best places to go racing on the planet. Enthusiastic fans, heavy braking into the chicanes, and then, of course, the slipstreaming down the long straights. And if you win, you don't want to leave the podium. Chazelle Technology course, the crew getting in position to wave to their race-winning driver, their class-winning driver, that is, Jean-Mathieu Leandri. Top bronze driver here today in the all-bronze crews that run in the AM class. So let's take a look at their championship. Ergon Uto, second today for the French crew in the Schumacher CLRT entry, but that is fine because they're sitting on a tidy advantage. Grisot and Giminet didn't score so well today. Andy Cantu got taken out, and it really was a case of some of the crews not normally at the front. You see, that victory's only moved today's winner into 8th place, Jean-Martin Leandri, but he'll say, yeah, I did it all on my own for Giselle Technology course. But for Schumacher CLRT and their Alpine crew, things are looking very, very good indeed. That margin, 75 points. There are precisely 78 points still to play for. It's almost a shoe-in for them in the AM class. It's about consistency as well. Get the points in the bag, keep on putting the points in the bag, risk a position or two to make sure you score points. But if you can win, tell you what, well, it's goodbye from me. If we can produce even half of the fireworks of today's race in Sunday, do make sure you join us. The GT4 European Series, it's a cracker.